You've given your aid, the Ramadan packs. We are now loading them up, and we're going to take it to places across Sylhet, Greater Sylhet, for it to be distributed.
আমি আশা করি দেখতাম স্যারাম আমরা সাহায্য করছি জানে তার গরু গিয়া দেখতাম স্যারাম তার অবস্থা কিলা কতক্ষণ সাহায্য লাগে বেমার খেতে জানি স্যার কতদিন ধরে আপনার আড়াই বছর তো কতদিন ধরে কষ্ট করবা
She has this 5-year-old. She hasn't got a husband. She hasn't got parents. She's got nobody. And we can give this to these women to make a difference. Alhamdulillah.
আপনার মেশিন কিটা খাল লাগি নিছেন মেশিন
আমার লাগে নিছি
আপনার মেশিন ফারানি চালাইতা আপনার কিটা মেশিন নাই
জি না আমার মেশিনও নাই আমার মেশিন কিনার টপিকও নাই
So these guys, obviously, they're still living in the very basic conditions, which takes me back to that long time. So.
তুমি সব খেলাও একবার হইতো
লেখাপড়া এটা এই খেলাধুলা চলে এটাই শিখে হলো
আসসালামু আলাইকুম আপনি শিহানুরের আব্বা শিহানুরের বয়স 18 বছর নাই নি 18 ফোরসন 18 ইজি বাগি তো অত বছর যে তানোর একটা হুইলচেয়ার আছে না কিলাখান চলাফেরা করতা
জি এই সময় আমি খান্দে পারি
Oh my goodness this 18-year-old he just saying that we gave him 2 legs I don't feel good doing this but I don't have any other choice
কত সুন্দর করে কইছেন যেন শুধু ভাই বোন গরুর মাঝে আরো আছে কিলা টান বাইন করে কিলা সাহায্য করতে পারেন লেখাপড়ার হেল্প করতে পারেন হ্যাঁ
হারাইয়া দিছিলাম দোকানও আপনার দোকানও গিয়া খাম শিখছি শিখা বাদে আপনার আমি তো মেশিন একটা দিতাম পারি না আল্লাহ আরো খুশি করতা আমার বাচ্চাকে আরো বড় হইতো আশা করছে বাচ্চায় রুজি করি আমারে খাওয়াইতো ভাই বোনরে খাওয়াইতো বলাইতো আয় উন্নতি তা করতো আমি 5 ওয়াক্ত নামাজ পড়িয়া থান লাগে আমি দোয়া করবো আমার বাচ্চা দিনে খান শিখছি শিখিয়া দিন মেশিনটা পাইছি
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على رسول الكريم أما بعد. Dear viewers who are watching, welcome. My name is Abu Mumin. I will be your host for tonight. The main host, Brother Abdul Mia, he's he's on leave. He's making a movie, a martial arts movie. That's all I can say. Inshallah, he'll be joining me next week for another very important discussion, and that will be around COVID domestic violence. Last week, a sister was murdered. Today's show, however, 13 Rivers Trust, a community show, we want to talk about charity work. Should we have charity? Should we prioritize on charity work in the UK, or should we focus on charity work abroad, where the need is the greatest? We have a good range of guests today, so I would like to introduce my guest, and I will ask them to introduce their work more, inshallah, what they do. So I'll give them a minute each. So I have with me Shahi, Atik, Abdul Rahim, Shafi Bhai from Life Plus, all the way from Saudi Arabia. It looks nice. It's just Jazakallah khair. I think it's 12 midnight, and he's awake. We try to work. We work closely with him as partners. Then we have our young brother Shahin from the Sunnah Trust. Assalamu alaikum all. Okay, we tried to get sisters today, but unfortunately, we couldn't get sisters. So, just as a way of warming up, if I could start with Shafi Bhai. Shafi Bhai, if you could, during this COVID-19 lockdown, could you please say what's your favorite exercise during the lockdown? And after that, introduce yourself and your organization. You have a minute, inshallah.
Was that to Shafi or Shahi Bhai?
Shafi. That's you.
Sorry. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My favorite exercise, actually, I have decided to join the gym last 8 weeks. And alhamdulillah, doing various things. I love swimming, a bit of mixed martial arts, etc. What I do, I basically run a small little charity called Life Plus. We're Manchester based, and we do most of the work in Bangladesh. We've been operating since 1998. In a very small way, we try to help people with long-term project sustainability, empowering people. Basically, the purpose of Life Plus is to get people the tools that they can use to do their own things. So while the focus, there's two angles. One is obviously short-term support to people, but the main focus is long-term support so that people can do their own things. And I think this will be related to this subject of today's program. And I just want to, guys, thank Momin Bhai and the 13 Rivers Trust for organizing this. This is a really, really useful discussion, actually, that needs to have had long time ago. Obviously, things have changed in the world in the last 10, 20 years. So, inshallah, as we move on to this program, there will be a lot of things that comes out, and I hope people watching, your viewers watching, they will find it useful.
You didn't say your favorite exercise, COVID exercise.
COVID, I think I did. I said I joined the gym and I'm doing a bit of mixed martial arts. I do a bit of swimming, and I do lots of mixtures of things, but my favorite is swimming, actually. In Saudi here, we are not under lockdown. Our curfew stopped about 4 months ago. It was a complete curfew, but now, alhamdulillah, it's more or less relaxed. It's almost normal here. I don't feel any real restrictions other than keeping the social distancing and the masks and things. Life is going quite well here, and I think these guys have done a good job of managing things here.
Okay. I think Brother Shafi, in terms of when he presents Life Plus, I actually know what they do. I've seen it with firsthand, and we work in partnership with the orphans. He undersells himself. The work is huge. It's small, concentrated but huge. And I just want to say, Salam Jones is watching, and I want to say to Salam Jones, bro, he says charity work should always be given where the need is the greatest. No. And there is a group of people say, no, that is not correct, right? You need to give charity where your neighbors are, where you are. That's where the first point of charity giving should be. That's a point of view. So Salam, if you're listening, bro, call in. You know, the number is there. Call in. Yeah, because there is that point of view. Okay, now please share the video, the link, and get calling, or leave your messages, inshallah. Okay, next person, Shahi. We've got a lot of people with S names. So Shahi.
Hi, Assalamualaikum.
Yes. Assalamualaikum.
Yeah, I mean, I've been basically, I'm a volunteer with Select Aid, so I've got a particular sort of point of view on this. Do you want to know my exercise?
Yes, of course. You don't look you look as if you put on weight.
Yeah, I think I need to do a bit more. I did actually join the gym, and I started using some of the machines. And then on one of the machines, the instructor looked very alarmed, and I was sort of really getting into it, enjoying myself. And then he kind of politely sidled up to me and he said, Sasa. And then I froze, you know. He said, Sasa. That was the reason I froze. But then he said, look, did you know that you meant to sit the other way around? But anyway, I said, look, I'm really enjoying it. I can do it. And, you know, I'm more upset by the fact that you called me Sasa. But anyway, since the lockdown started, obviously, gyms are no longer, you know, you can't go to them anymore because of social distancing, etc. So I do a little bit of cycling. I don't know if you can see, I've got a little exercise bike just there. So I use that sometimes.
Is that the cycling that you do?
Yeah, and lately I've been taking my son to primary school, and I think Atik can verify this. Sometimes I sneakily ride his scooter back after I've dropped him off. It's really fun.
Okay. I just want to add, Salam Jones, he says he lives in a rich area. Yeah, he lives in a wealthy area. And I know which area he lives in. It's near Luton. Luton is one of the most deprived areas in the UK. Yeah, we're not talking about the rich people. We're talking about those who are homeless, who don't have shelter. Surely our priorities should go to them first before outside of the UK. That's a debate that me and Salam are having on the side. He needs to call in. Okay, Atik, if you could, your favorite exercise and COVID exercise, and introduce yourself, sir.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Atik Zaman. I don't know. Favorite COVID exercise now is just watching football.
That's not exercise. That's what are you exercising the eye?
Listen, it's stressful following Liverpool right now. You know, we might be champions, but we're not playing like that at the moment. That's stressful.
Okay, all right. And just anything else apart from Liverpool FC?
Golf.
Subhanallah. All right, that's exercise. Is the golf course open during the COVID lockdown?
No, they closed it beginning of the second lockdown. We had a few months after the last lockdown, everything was going swimmingly, and all of a sudden they decided to close it. It doesn't make any sense because you're socially distanced on a golf course anyway. So I don't see the reason behind it, but it is what it is, I'm afraid.
Okay, all right. Okay, welcome to the show. Okay, Shaheen, our upcoming future generation. Shaheen is really from Sunnah Trust, and he's somebody that we're going to see a lot more of. When I say young, he's very young in comparison to most of us here. Shaheen, could you please your COVID exercise and introduce yourself and Sunnah Trust?
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Firstly, Jazakallah khair to Abu Bai for inviting me. He's alhamdulillah, a mentor and someone that I've known for probably like past 15 years, 15 to 18 years now, since we were very young. Alhamdulillah, COVID exercise, I think, it's, to be honest, I haven't been really doing much exercise, which is not good. I try and go for a jog on a Sunday. That's about it really, but I miss the football that we normally play with the brothers on a Thursday and a Sunday. So inshallah, once the lockdown eases, we can go back to that. A quick summary about Sunnah Trust. We were established in 2016, and it's an organization where we really try and focus in trying to empower our young people, where we give them the skills, the knowledge, the tools. We take them through this leadership course for a year, and then inshallah try and allow them to then go out to their own communities and then serve the most vulnerable or create their own projects. So just in a nutshell, and there's a few other projects that we also do, which I can talk about that later on, inshallah.
Okay, Jazakallah khair for that. Okay, someone who always debates me, gives me a different point of view, and I'm hoping he studied international development, so that's probably why. And we're always like debating, or I feel anyway. Abdul Rahim, he's the one who did the video. Can you please, your COVID exercise, and yeah, introduce yourself, sir.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Abdul Rahim, and well, my COVID exercise was cycling with you until that stopped for a bit. So I do take the bike out on the odd occasion, try to do some jogging here and there, but not really working, to be honest with you. I'm a volunteer with Sila Aid. I've been doing it for the last 3 years with yourself and Shahibai and Atik. So yeah, and that's me.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. Now that we're all warmed up, we've got quite a few people who are watching, and I would like you to share this video to people that on your social media. You've all shared, yes, inshallah, all my guests. Alhamdulillah. Yeah. Okay, I just want to say, as a rule, please be respectful, yeah, but give your opinion. I will try to facilitate the debate and discussion, and if you want to jump in, just jump in. Yeah, we want to make it interactive as possible. Now, the question is, should we focus on charity work in the UK or in countries where the need is the greatest? Who'd like to answer that? First person.
I don't mind having a go.
Sorry?
I'll start.
Yeah, go.
I mean, because I was, I can still remember, because I was born in Bangladesh, and I still have memories of what I saw around me. So, and each time I've gone back, even though there has been sort of developments and changes, the disparity, the difference between those who have, maybe they have somebody abroad, or maybe they have a lot of land, or fortunate enough to have a business, and those who don't, is very, very much, and it's really sort of hits you in the face, and you just naturally feel very, very sorry for those who are struggling, and you just feel like you have to do something. So I mean, that's sort of the main reason why I thought, maybe with you guys and with Silat Aid, I could make a little bit of a difference. So, and that hasn't changed.
Can I just interject here? I just want to interject by making 2 points. Shahid, just 2 points. One is you came to the UK when you were young. Your children are in the UK. Your family, extended family, are in the UK. Bangladesh is about to become a tiger state. A wealthy nation. You have poverty in the UK in your backyard. Should that not be your priority?
I see these, these sort of stories developing. However, the journey is a long one. All these labels that are applied, Tiger Nation, one of the sort of fast developing countries. Fair enough, there may be some truth in that, and industry is developing, and I've seen myself where there are sort of commerce and so on is growing. And if you go to Dhaka, you'll see it as well, lots of buildings mushrooming and lots of big companies and so on moving in there. However, if you look on one street and you take a look on the other street, you see there's something else over there, and the needy are still very, very noticeable, very numerous, and they do not have the safety net and supports that, for example, here in the UK, despite what the government's done over the last decade or so, with austerity and all the crises that we're going through, we still have a lot more in place, in my opinion.
Okay.
So therefore, the needy, like in Bangladesh and in many other parts of the world, they still need help from outside or for example, from here.
Okay. Does anybody want to add anything or give another point of view?
If I may just jump in here, I think it's important to understand a few things. First thing is, we all know poverty starts, sorry, not poverty, I beg your pardon, charity starts at home, right? We all know this, but there is no saying that it stops at home either. So while I agree with what Abu Mumin Bhai said, we should be looking after people closer to us. There are some criteria that your relatives, people in need, your relatives, your friends and families and neighbors, they have a right over you. At the same time, those who are in extreme poverty, maybe elsewhere, they also have a right over you. And it's important that we understand what poverty is here. Right, and if I may just read out a definition of what extreme poverty is. It is the most severe type of poverty defined by the UN as a condition characterized by severe deprivation of basic human needs, including food, safe drinking water, sanitation facilities, health, shelter, education, and information, etc., etc. Right. So this is the definition of extreme poverty, and I think it's important to understand what level of poverty we have in the UK and elsewhere. It's important to understand that. It's a very important point. So we do have poverty. I mean, I was shocked because I've been living away from the UK for the last over 10 years. Now, every time I come to visit and when I walk around the towns and cities, the level of poverty I have seen developed in the UK was shocking. It's a shock to my system. Last year, I was in Milton Keynes. And I was walking around the town center and I saw people, so many people just living outside in rough conditions in the extreme cold. Now, these guys and girls just living under the bridge next to the footpath, what have you. And there are people who are giving them warm food. And I saw this Sikh group, dishing out some hot food and things like that. So it's very nice to see that. But I was shocked to see the level of poverty that has developed, and the number of food banks, as an example, that has mushroomed the last 10 years is just beyond me, right? It's giving me the impression that UK is not what it used to be. It's almost, it appears to me that it's becoming like a second-rate nation in terms of poverty and the spread of poverty. So it's important to balance things out. At the same time, we got to see the proportion of people who are in that category. Right. So the extreme poverty, if you take the 2018 census that UN carried out, they said they gave a figure of $1.90, I think, $1.80 or 90 cents in 2018. So anybody whose income is $1.90 or less is in extreme poverty. And I think it's important to understand how people fall into this category and in which locations they fall into that category. According to the same UN, most people who are in this category, in this bracket, live in Southeast Asia, and the sub-Saharan African nations. So by definition, you have people who are in extreme poverty in other places, not necessarily in the UK, while UK is having huge number of people who are going into poverty, and that it's important to look after ourselves as well.
Can I just make a quick two feedback? There's a communication happening via messaging on the main page. So Muhammad Jahangir Alam says charity should be carried out wherever and whenever is needed, and it can be in several forms. Salam Jones says poverty in the UK is due to Tory policies. So I don't want to touch too much. I say that is incorrect. When Labour were in power, we had poverty. Less maybe so, but we had poverty.
Can I just stop you there? Like,
yeah.
Listen, I was born and raised in the UK. The reason I'm involved with Sila Aid is, at the end of the day, in the UK we have a fallback. The fallback is the government. We pay taxes, and a portion of these taxes are supposed to help those in need, the social state. Whereas in Bangladesh, we don't have Lenny Henry, we don't have Red Nose Day. Do you understand? It's up to us to make a change. That's why, yeah, where the need is greatest, that's where you should really focus your attention on.
Okay, good point. So why, the question back to you, why doesn't Bangladesh have the Lenny Henrys and the Red Nose Day? Why are they not initiating those kind of things that are being initiated here? And my second point is, we got people whose family members are taking zakat. We got people in the UK, they're not, they can't afford to go to Umrah, so they're dependent on others to help them out. Where some of us are gallivanting wherever we're gallivanting to, and we're forgetting the number one priority. If we have somebody who is known to us, is in need of zakat, why don't we get them out of poverty and they don't take zakat forever? Do you see the problem here that I'm making? Now, so I want to just get Shaheen. Shaheen, do you want to just get your bit in there, inshallah?
Shaheen bhai.
Okay, we've lost Shaheen. You come back in. Abdurrahim.
Yes.
Yeah, we lost. I think he has to unmute himself. Abdurrahim, please comment.
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, coming back to the whole why we should go to Bangladesh, I think, you know, some people, you can associate charity with various things, and it doesn't always have to be money. I mean, we can do charity in various ways. You can do like a transfer of skills, whatever. I mean, here, I don't know what use I can be to the charity sector here. There are far bigger organizations than I am. And me personally, one of the reasons I got involved with Sila Aid was because I thought maybe there's some sort of skill that I can transfer. Because I'm going to Bangladesh anyway, so I thought, why not just go and do something whilst I'm there? And like Atik was saying, Buddy was saying as well, here you have sort of like a fallback. You have a net. You have, I don't know how many nets there are, but there are a few nets where eventually they will catch you. In Bangladesh, what we've seen over the last 3 years, there's nothing. I mean, and the kind of people that we're helping over there are the people who will literally just keep on falling until they're dead. And we're not helping the middle class, the riches. We're picking up the old balls here and there, people who really need it. You know, you yourself have helped a few emergency cases of, you know, medical attention and stuff like that. And so I would say, look, we're not helping everybody over there. We're helping people who are really desperate and people who are really fallen through the net, and they've literally got nowhere else to go. And yeah, and that would be my take on it, to be honest with you.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. Shahi, I interject. You wanted to say something earlier.
Sorry, just wanted to make a comment about I'm more towards, and I agree with the people who've mentioned about the fact that obviously charity should go towards where there's greater need. But I think we should definitely focus on the UK in the sense that, you know, sometimes we, and I think one of the brothers mentioned about the benefits that we have, the universal credit, but how much exactly is it? And in terms of the lifestyle that we have in the UK, how expensive it is in terms of, if you look at some of, especially with COVID now, there's one, and this is a question to our viewers. How many of us know our neighbors on the right and the left? How many times have we actually spoken to people, actually seeing that, are they actually okay? Because I think when we think about the UK, there's a stereotypical mindset that we think because we're such a developed country, everyone is fine, everyone's just getting on with life, but there are actually probably people there who are not able to pay their rent, their bills. Since COVID, as Sunnah Trust, we've been actually going out to people's homes delivering food, and these are people who actually are in need. So I definitely believe that obviously charity starts at home with our families, and there's a beautiful ayat in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about infaq, how we should, and it reminds me of charity, that it's not just money itself, it's our time, our skills, any resources that we have in order to convey the message of our Prophet to be able to carry the good and pass it to others. So definitely I agree, the amazing work that's going on back home in Bangladesh, definitely we should use that, but I think we need to kind of work together like a multi-agency, kind of see who's doing what work, and then try and see where the gaps are in provision. So we definitely, yes, need to focus in the UK, because even if you look at Tower Hamlets, one of the most deprived areas in the UK, probably within the top 10, and there are a lot of issues, because poverty can lead to other ill health, from mental health issues and so forth. So we need to definitely look into our own community, see where the needs are, and then inshallah be able to expand from there on.
Jazakallah khair, Shaheen. Very important point. Can I also just mention about the hadith of Prophet ﷺ, the rights of a neighbor to who have on you? You know, like brother has a right over you, mother has right over you, father has right over you, and you them. Neighbors have rights over you, and the neighbors that we have rights is 50 on our, the 50 neighbors on our right, 50 neighbors to our left, and many of us are we ignoring that because we think where the need is greatest. Now, I'm going to, I need one person to call in now. Yeah, we're going to highlight the telephone number. I know there's quite a lot of people who are watching, so I need the first call coming in, inshallah. Now, what we've been saying, guys, you've heard Shaheen's point of view, and does anybody here has a different point of view to what he said? Because what I know, like, it's not just Bangladesh, it's Pakistan, it's Yemen, what's going on, yeah, but it's never ending. Do you understand? It's never ending. It's always something's happening. There's always a national disaster or war happening. You know.
I think what I would add from what Shaheen Bhai said earlier was that I think I've always, obviously I've been involved with you guys for about 3 years now, but I always ask the question, you know, there are various charities organized working in Bangladesh. I always wondered why they don't work together. I mean, you don't need a few hundred organizations giving out a blanket. One organization could do that. I mean, you can focus here and over there. You don't need so many. I mean, that's probably one of the questions that I would like to probably ask is why we don't have like organizations that work. Why don't organizations that work in Bangladesh, why don't they work together? What's the problem there?
I'm going to ask Shafi Bhai this, but I just want to point out, Bangladesh, this is a fact, Bangladesh has the largest number of NGOs in the whole world. Did you know that? Wow. We've got plenty of it. Shafi Bhai, why are charities not working together for a common good?
I think that there is a number of answers to that. Before I come, I just want to add a couple of things before some of the brothers mentioned something about Bangladesh. To be fair, the government is trying. Now, let's not go into the debate about pro and against the government. But from what I have seen, the government is trying to help people as much as they can. Don't forget, it's a poor government. It's a poor nation, but it has made provisions in the last 10, 15 years for disabled people. So if you have a disability card and you're registered with the national, whatever it is, they have an organization, you are entitled to your monthly disability allowances, things like that. So they have introduced a number of elements like the social aspects where they are trying their best. Maybe it's not enough. I'm sure it's not enough. And also the corruption plays a part in it as well. So a lot of the things gets funneled away somewhere else. So that's another issue. coming to I think it's important that we understand what we mean by charity itself as well. You know, we need to get to the bottom of it. When we give charity, it's very broad. And what type of charity are we talking about? You have short-term charity, you have long-term charity. Now, where do you want to focus? Short-term charity is basically giving out handouts, right? The brother mentioned giving out blankets and a bit of food here and there. But is that really solving anything for everybody? So we need to understand things like that. You know, sometimes, you know, giving something out and taking a few pictures is nice for the social media, but is it really solving anything in the long term? And we need to focus on these little things, because for me, one of the key issues is the charity should be focused around long-term sustainability, so people actually do their own things. We should be doing, anybody who is involved in the charity sector, we should be getting ourselves out of it by helping people in a way that they do their own things, and where we don't have to help anybody because their need is not there anymore. So it's very crucial to understand the root cause of these issues, right? Now, going back to the question the brother just asked, why charities are not working, I will disagree. A lot of people are working together. You know, for example, let's say Life Plus is a very small charity. We've been going around since 1998. And I will vouch that I have probably worked with 50 organizations since the last 2.5 decades. And currently, we started to work with Sylhet Aid and a few others. And I'll give you another example where we have worked together. The Rohingya crisis, I visited the camps about 7 times myself since 2017, when this whole thing restarted actually. And I facilitated at least 10 different organizations to go there, get there and do their own things. So there are people like myself, smaller organizations, who are working together in different ways. Perhaps we just don't know about it. It's just, you know, it's not highlighted, but there are issues. I think what the brother is trying to say is there are too many organizations and everybody has their own different aims and objectives. Perhaps sometimes it comes into conflict. I think we should work more together. A lot of like-minded organizations, people who share the values and you know, the objectives in the mind, should come together, because that way you can reduce your cost, you can reduce the expenses, you can focus, and you can do a lot more by working together. I think the trouble here, bro, is people have their own things in their mind, and they want to do their own things, you know, in their own ways. They want to leave their own marks. But probably these are some of the things why a lot of organizations don't work together. There are conflicts as well that has to be resolved. But for me, I think all organizations who have similar aims and visions should come together, and they should work to deliver things in a bigger way, right? For a long-term development, to help people in the long term. Otherwise, everybody, I mean, I don't know how people will see this, but what I'm seeing in the last 10, 15 years is there's a charity in every household now. Every 2 people has a charity, right? And you know, when you open your Facebook, and you know, I'm not saying I'm not part of it, I am part of this as well, but there are so many little organizations doing so many, or claiming to be doing so many things. That is also created some negative perception to the donors as well. And you hear so many negative stories as well. A lot of people who are out there to abuse the generosity of the generous people. And that has a very profound impact, because that upsets a lot of people. And then, you know, organizations like Sylhet Aid might take a hit because somebody else.
If I could interject, I actually would disagree with you. The concept of charity is an individual responsibility. Our parents, they were very charitable. In fact, I think we've become very stingy. Yeah. Now, because I'm talking about the second and the third and the fourth generation. I know a lot of young people, their parents used to give where their neighbors were in their villages. The children are focusing somewhere else, like Gaza, Palestine, Yemen, because they feel more affinity to that. I want to ask Atik. Atik, there are some points that are being raised. You can give blankets and food, but that is short term. What are the long term? You know,
I was gonna interject anyway. I mean, this brother says about the UN definition of poverty. Well, for 3 years that we've been going to Bangladesh, the people that we dealt with is the very definition of poverty. And if you want to look at the UK and Bangladesh, for an example, well, you got to judge them on a level playing field. Bangladesh, what we're dealing with at the moment, these people don't have roofs over their head. They don't have clean water. And you're talking about the UK. Well, some of these people do have a house to live in. They might not have food, but at least they've got a house to live in. They've got running water, fresh water. In Bangladesh, some of these people don't. The second point you're saying, and which I agree with you, is all fine and well giving blankets out every year, but that doesn't resolve the overall problem. Well, actually, funny you say that, because I've started work on a teaching center in Bangladesh at the end of the month. Now, what is that going to achieve? Well, that's going to help the local community learn a trade, whether it's sewing, making garments. So these people can learn this trade, and from years on now, they don't have to come back and ask for a handout or a blanket. Do you see? We're moving ahead now. I'm not going to go back every year just to hand out blankets, wheelchairs, and sewing machines, because at the end of the day, it's a recurring cycle. We're just going round in circles. So I want to get away from that. Hence, this is where we're going. We're still at aid. We're starting this project where it's a teaching center, an outreach center, and we'll see where it progresses from here.
Okay, inshallah. Any of the other guests want to interject? Abdurrahim, Shahi?
Yeah, there was a
I think
just to it, with the definition of $1.90 as a definition of poverty, I just want to make sure everyone understands that it's not $1.90 per hour. That's like what they would earn in the whole day in Bangladesh and in countries like that. So, you know, just bear that in mind. You know, we have a statutory minimum minimum earnings or a minimum wage in the UK, which I believe is around £9 to £10 per hour, and that's the minimum per hour. But we're talking about people, by definition, who are earning less than $2 approximately in a whole day. So that gives you some idea. And referring to the blankets and sort of temporary, sort of short-term things, some of those people, you know, they get ill because they get so cold during the winter months. And last winter we went, before the COVID crisis, I was actually shivering. That's why I'm wearing my gamsa now, just to remind myself, you know, because it was so cold. And I was shocked by how cold it was, and I'd just gone from the UK. So, you know, sometimes the measures are needed as well.
That's a really good point. You know, back in the days before they created central heating, the hot water bottles, you know, if you're murabbi, if you were elderly, it was very difficult. And, you know, some people, if you visit these places during the winter time in a very hot tropical countries, because of climate change, if you feel their hand is freezing. So those kind of things I think should continue, but there needs to be more long-term strategies like poverty alleviation. Shaheen, you were saying. Shaheen.
I was going to mention what was about the sustainability. I think that's definitely an important part.
Shaheen, can I just
Obviously,
ask
the
you
short
to go
term
back
is
a bit?
important.
Just go back so we can see your full face. Okay. Yeah. Yes, that's fine.
I was going to mention about the sustainability projects. And I think the short term is important. The blankets, the supporting it with the food and so forth, that is important, especially obviously you can understand the context of Bangladesh, especially if the poor, the disabled and so forth, the wheelchair, and the amazing work that Sila Aid have done. In terms of the sustainability, that's definitely a long-term plan, but something that we need to kind of get hold of straight away right now, because if we think about the next 10, 20 years, we want to get to a point where people who live in Bangladesh are able to take a lead, not just us going there providing the short-term support, but in the sense that we have, and I think this is going to take the multi-agency perspective of we need to have our psychologists, our counselors, the doctors, the teachers, the lawyers, everyone basically trying to come together in terms of the social work skills that we have, and being able to provide those long-term sustainability where people who live in Bangladesh are able to carry on those projects themselves, rather than us going there every now and then. Obviously, first it might require, you know, support financially and so forth, but ideally we want to try and get to a point where they can help each other in terms of creating jobs, in terms of helping people with their well-being, in terms of being a lot of support with disability. And I think this is one thing, subhanAllah, you know, I think one of the brothers mentioned, there are some amazing charities out there that are doing some really great stuff, especially in Bangladesh. What would be really good is if we can try and get all the organizations together and try and see, you know, if there's ways in which we could share our skills, our knowledge, our experience, and try and help the people of Bangladesh, even if it means that we become mentors and try and guide them to develop something where, you know, it's not just the short term, but the long term. Because, you know, if we don't start this now, so if we don't do it, what's going to happen 20 years later on when our children grow up? It's just going to happen.
Shaheen, I don't want you to get offended. But you can respond. Getting everyone to work together, you're living in a cuckoo land. Yeah, it's never going to happen. Yeah, you know, I'm telling you this, bro. I've just turned 51 yesterday. My young age, I'm in COVID restriction again. I can't go out for the next 14 days because somebody I know has COVID. But the time is almost coming to an end. So I'm just going to the final segment. Before the final segment, I want our technician to play the 13 Rivers video. And I just also want to say there is a person who every week comments about the legal will cover that we provide. And he messages No Will. He knows who he is. If you are keen to learn about our will service, email us. Yeah, it's no point being Islamophobic and racist towards our work. When we do this piece of work, we do it independent of Eden Care Muslim Burial Fund. So please, if you have grievances, please contact us via email through your solicitors so we can respond. This person just every week he does it, and I think there is a problem. I think there's a mental problem. So I want to show you this short video on 13 Rivers Trust. Our technician Shab is. We're going to play this video very soon, inshallah.
The coronavirus outbreak has devastated the UK with over 48,000 deaths, and with the arrival of winter, the situation will worsen. At the 13 Rivers Trust, through our Eden Care UK project, we're providing care to the most vulnerable people and those reaching the end of life. And through the Muslim Burial Fund, we're giving Muslims guidance and financial help to bury those who can't afford it. Help us provide this essential support to our community in this time of need. Donate now.
Okay, the reason I just played this, the 13 Rivers Trust community show, the organization, from our point of view, I would say between 80 to 85% of the work of 13 Rivers Trust is UK based. We are working hard to develop services in the UK for those who are most in need. People, you know, we're dealing with the burial referral of somebody who passed away and they don't have the means. The welfare system doesn't provide for that unless they have, you know, a next of kin who is on benefit. And even so, they have to wait 4 to 6 weeks before the burial can happen. And we know, according to our faith, this needs to happen. And also the end stages of life. There's terminal illness. There are huge issues in the UK that needs to be addressed. At the same time, we got components for work through Sylhet Aid. We're expanding through orphans, and we'll go into other areas, maybe even other countries. Now, the last segment. I want you all, it's been very interesting, very good, very healthy, very respectful. If you all could summarize your thoughts and maybe want to add another point. So because Shafi is from Saudi Arabia, I'm going to let him go first, just in case he decides to, it's bedtime.
Brother bedtime. Thank you. First of all, I think going back to the subject of the discussion, I think we definitely need to consider and take care of our own people who are with us in the UK itself, because we live there. This is where our family and friends and relatives are. As days goes by, poverty is increasing there. But as the brothers already said, the level of poverty, the difference, there's a huge difference of that kind of poverty and poverty you have in places like Bangladesh or other countries. So we've got to put things in perspective. It's important to work together. The brother mentioned that. I know, Abu Moinba, you said, it's going to be almost impossible to get everybody working together. But you don't have to get everybody working together. All you need is a few like-minded organizations to work together to make the difference. And to be honest, I am not in the business of numbers. Numbers means nothing to me. It is the quality of service or the value that is going to have. So even if you get two organizations working together, if they can come up with very good projects that will really impact the lives rather than just the handouts. Obviously, handout has its own part. It's not, it's not to be discounted. It has its part, but the focus should be long-term sustainability. It should be people doing their own thing, so we don't have to keep giving them handouts. And the best way to move about and get that is by working together. People, like-minded people. You will never get everybody thinking the same way. People who do have the similar aims and objectives, they should come together. They should put their skills, resources, money, and everything else, knowledge, what have you, together to create an environment where people are given jobs, creating an environment where we're giving them skills and knowledge, develop them in that way, so that poverty in the end can be eradicated.
Jazakallah khair. Okay, if you want, you can remain and contribute more.
This is interesting. I'm going to hang around.
Okay, good. Okay, Atik, you seem like you want to say something.
No.
We're summarizing. So you just want to...
No, I mean, I agree with the brother from Saudi Arabia. All I'm going to say is, look, each person can make a difference, one person can do the job of 100 different organizations. If your heart is in it and your conscience is clear, just follow your conscience. If your conscience is saying that, I'm going to do charity, but I'm going to do it in the UK because I feel the need is greatest here, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not disagreeing with that. But what I'm saying is I feel that, at the moment in time, I need to do something in Bangladesh, because I go there every year with Sylhet Aid. I see what's going on. And like the brother said, it's not about, just giving handouts. This year is a different, I'm going down a different avenue. I want to do something where they break this cycle of need, teach them, empower them, let them then stand on their own 2 feet and earn a living.
Okay, that's a very important point. Now, nobody said this, and I really, our parents used to, our parents, they used to help people that they know in their villages, in their areas. They're passing away. Our parents are passing away. They're falling ill. Who's continuing that piece of work? Who's picking up? When somebody is in difficulties trying to get their daughter married, son married, house has broken down because of the monsoon or whatever, a massive gap is opening. I'm just, that's a very important point to the debate. Abdul Rahim, if you could summarize, please.
No, just coming back from what you were saying at the end. I think that's probably one of the reasons why I got involved in it. I think I was just sort of picking up from where my dad left off. I think that's probably one of the reasons I got introduced to Silat Aid, because I think I've always wanted to do something, because I knew it was going to be up to me to carry on. And I think to a certain extent that's probably why I got involved. Is I'm probably just kept picking up. I'm already doing it right now for supporting. I to be honest with you, I get phone calls like every single day, and and it's sometimes it drives you a bit nuts, but you know. And I think
do you have a baby nearby somewhere? We can hear baby sound.
Me? No.
Do you have a baby? Little children?
Not me. Probably one of the other brothers, maybe.
Yeah. Okay, no problem. Shaheen, did you summarize?
Just a summary, and it's you reminded me, Abu Bay, about the subhanallah, and this is quite recent, that I actually sat down with my parents.
I still need you to go back. Just go back a bit.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Actually, what I done is I sat down with my parents, and I actually tried to do like a family tree of relatives that we've got back home, relatives that we have here, and the extended family and so forth. And I tried to get the names written down, and then it made me reflect, subhanAllah, like if we look after our families, our extended family, exactly know, and in terms of going back to our villages and see who needs the utmost support, start from there. And just to also finish on, obviously, the sustainability part, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed many of us with, if not with the money, at least we have skills, we have the knowledge, we have the experience. So whatever Allah has blessed us with the health that we've got, we need to try and utilize this, because our time is limited in this dunya. So it's to the viewers, to myself, a reminder that whatever we have, we need to, inshallah, try our best to give back.
Okay. This leaves us with Shahi to wrap up.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with.
And everybody put your thing on mute, so we can hear Shahi, inshallah.
Okay, so no, I agree with all the people saying, and you know, I've come to the realization that Rivers Trust's work, you know, there are sort of things that are required in the UK as well. You know, very important work that the 13 Rivers Trust is doing. Obviously, I've got involved because of my experience in Bangladesh. But we need to be aware that there may be needs closer to home. There may be people who are struggling in some way and their needs not being met. And also the other thing that I'd like to highlight from an education background as well, and also thinking of my own children, how are they going to, how would I help them to maintain a link with their sort of extended family back home, and also so that attitude, they need to help the needy over there. So that's what I'm thinking. We agree that we need to have more collaboration and more sort of networks working together to combine their resources and be more effective. Because so together you more and you help a lot more.
Shahi, I think there is a network problem. I think you probably didn't pay your bill. Internet. Okay. Listen.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, it's this cracking sound. We've passed our time. We've passed our time allocated. This is a very important topic. It brings about, you can talk about the UK. You can talk about. Well, one of my worries is I think my children, alhamdulillah, will contribute quite a bit in the UK. But I'm worried about them losing their heritage, them not connecting with their roots and the language. And I think charitable is a good way of re-engaging, and with where your grandparents or your parents are from. But many people have abandoned and I worry for the poor, because we have seen many poor people that are, without that help and support, they would be struggling. But I welcome the fact that the Bangladesh government and the Pakistani government, Indian government, other governments are introducing welfare. For example, free hospital service. The medicine is expensive; they have to pay for. And also, I met a lot of the beggars who are entitled to benefit. Now, if anybody wants to get the last bit point in, you may do so before I wrap up. Anybody want to say the last bit?
I just want to add something, Moomin Bhai. You touched on a very deep topic, actually, and it's probably a subject for another day. Most of us here, the 6 of us here, or 7 of us, are probably second or third generation of, the children of immigrants. Now, this is probably why we have a bit more link to our, homeland. Now, the issue I'm trying to raise here is, what do you think might happen in the next, the 4th and the 5th generation? Are we heading towards complete disconnection? And it's very important that we as parents, or those who are going to be parents, we think about this. The root is very, very important. And how do we keep that bond and connection? One of the way is through our social activities and social work with the wherever we have come from. If we take some of the, we can be very modern and we can be very forward thinking, but it doesn't mean we have to abandon the roots that we have. If you take an example, would be the Jewish community. They're really extremely good on this one. They are really connected to the roots. And some of the Indian communities are really extremely connected to the roots. So we shouldn't, because we move and progress, become quite modern and become more Europeanized over the next generations. We should not. We should be very actively thinking that we have a root, we have a culture, and we need to keep that alive.
Jazakallah khair for that good summary. Does anybody else want to come in? Or you've said it. If there's no one, what I will say, next week we have a very important discussion, and it's about COVID, lockdown, and domestic violence. Last week, a sister was murdered at home, and domestic violence, with all the restriction, is increasing. There's a lot of pressure. So if you want to join in the debate and discussion, please, you can contact us through our Facebook page, through our other mediums. I would like to thank all our guests, particularly, you have to say Shafi Bhai, because it's 1 o'clock now, isn't it, in Saudi Arabia?
It's 10 past 1.
Okay.
You wake up at 6 o'clock.
And our guests from the UK who've contributed, alhamdulillah, it's been a good, passionate discussion. If we've said anything wrong, please forgive us. Please, I'd like to apologize for the technical glitches here and there. We're trying to improve it, inshallah. So, Jazakallah khair, and assalamu alaikum from all the guests in the studio, inshallah.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Welcome.